It's a thing, guys. Oh, man. You guys. I've been sorting all of my verbal clutter to the start of the set so that we can just get it out of the way and get to the good stuff. It's a thing I'm trying. I don't know. My name is Joel Elliott. You can follow my awkward handle on Twitter by following @awkwardhandle on Twitter. I'm very fortunate to be to have gotten booked on this show. I'm very fortunate to have gotten booked on this show. By fortunate, I mean I gave a lot of blowjobs. I gave all the blowjobs to get booked on this show. So many talent could be. Man, Tollie and Sean, my goodness, they're very, very funny. And you guys did know that, right? Like the show business in general and stand-up comedy, like specifically, it's actually predicated on like a very complicated system of blowjobs. You know that's how any business gets done. And what talent is a component of it, but it's inversely proportional to the amount of blowjobs that you have to give. You know, like I'm not very funny, so I have to give a whole lot of blowjobs to keep work. You know, like that's how it works. And you might be thinking like, oh, it must be nice to be Scott Eason, you know, booking these shows, getting all these blowjobs, but how do you think he got the show in the first place? He had to blow the guy that owns the sports page. That's show business. Oh. And remember the inverse proportionality of talent to how many blowjobs you have to give. You know, Sean is incredibly talented. He gave 0 blowjobs to get booked on this show tonight. Scott Eason had to give him like a long distance blowjob to have him. He's been on Conan. That's show business. That's how it works. Man, Scott Eason actually got accepted into a couple of comedy festivals this year. Just imagine the awful, depraved things that he had to do to get filthy things. That's show business. That's how it works. But yeah, I am very fortunate to be performing stand-up comedy here for you tonight. So at some point, I should probably start, you know, like performing stand-up comedy for you. I've been up here for a while. You guys ready for me to get started with the show? You guys ready? Yeah. All right, let's start the show.
Hold this camera.
Now I had the time of my life, and I owe it all to you. Okay, when I was working that bit out in my head, like an audience member came up and took my hand, and we did like a whole Dirty Dancing thing, and it was really funny. And this is embarrassing. It also lasted like 3 or 4 minutes. I should have brought more material. Okay, what are things that I know how to say? I have a dream that one day whites and blacks can sit down at the table together without whites co-opting black culture. That's a pet peeve. When I see white people like co-opting black culture outright, it's cringeworthy. Like I almost didn't survive the '90s for the amount of times that I had to hear white people say "faux shizzle my nizzle." I want to throw myself off a cliff when I hear that. And I mean, apart from that, the '90s were tough because of the sucker MC epidemic. Yeah, some of you are too young to remember, but there was a widespread outbreak of sucker MC-celiac disease in the '90s. Many MCs were infected. Every other song on the radio was about what you will and will not do with a sucker MC. They were very marginalized. I'm so glad they found a cure. But they never cured white people saying, "Faux shizzle my nizzle." It killed me. And just because you replace the double G with a double Z, it doesn't make it any less awkward that you're dropping the N. That's just... And over time, like if you've been on the internet in the last 10 years, it turned into my ninja. Like, what up, my ninja? The people are saying this. Why? Yeah. Why? Like, it's gotten to a point. I don't trust any word that comes out of a white person's mouth that begins with the letter N. Like, if a white person says, like, "Hey, you should meet my neighbor Steve," I'm like, wait. Now, does Steve live in your neighborhood, or do you mean like, "What up, my neighbor"? You know, like, neighbor, please. I don't know. I don't trust it anymore. It's terrible. And then, you know, they're like, "Oh, no, yeah, Steve lives in the hood with me." No, okay, shut up. There's no hood in Huntsville. I've heard people say, you know, like, "Oh, that area of Huntsville, that's the hood." Like the Section 8 housing in Huntsville, it looks like the suburbs of Baltimore City, Maryland, where I grew up. You know, like, there's no hood in Huntsville. When I first moved down to Huntsville, I saw on the local news that the murder rate was at 23, and it was like Thanksgiving. I was really, and they were like, "Whoa, it's been a rough year in Huntsville. The murder rate's 23." Like, when I was growing up in Baltimore, if we saw on the news, like on Martin Luther King Day, that the murder rate was 23, we'd be like, "Hey, we're having a decent year, you know? Only 23, roll tide, you know?" Okay, we wouldn't say that, of course, because we're not crazy zealots, you know? Like we would say some other affirmation, but I just want you to relate to what I'm laying down here. But yeah, I mean, Baltimore City's like, it's a rough city. There's a lot of murder, but like, you know, we don't even refer to any part of the city as the hood, you know, like, let alone Huntsville. And you saw the riots that we had? Bush League, 155 cars on fire? Come on, you know. Oh, well, you burned down the CVS. I mean, you know, it wasn't really that big a deal. You know, the whole rights thing. The good thing that came out of those, I mean, apart from the Department of Justice, you know, like investigation on racist practices in the Baltimore police force for several decades, the good thing that came out of those riots was that video of the mom pulling her kid out of the riot. Did you guys get to see that? Oh, it's so great. It's a single black mother, you know, sees her son looting in Baltimore, and she's like, what? Grabs him by the scruff of the neck and drags him out and just starts dressing him up and down in front of somebody who has, you know, a camera and it records. It's great. Look it up on YouTube. It's fantastic. She grabs him, drags him over. She's like, I thought I raised you better than this. Take that hood off your head. Violence is not the answer. You know, like she's really teaching him a lesson. It's, you know, like mixed signals there. Oh man, I miss Baltimore, Charm City. That's why they called it that. But wow, it's been great performing for you guys tonight. I have one more little bit that I want to I prepared for you guys. Are you guys ready for that?
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay. Now I had the time of my life. I did that one. I did that one already. It did not go good. It did not go well. All right. Well, okay. No, that's probably, you know, that's probably all I have for you. Definitely, I plan on giving a whole lot of blowjobs this summer. So come out to the local shows that I get booked on. If you have any formal complaints about my performance, you can send them by email to stuckinhuntsville@gmail.com. And remember to follow me on Twitter @awkwardhandle. Sports page, you have been great. I, on the other hand, have been Joel Elliott.